Listen closely, Chosen One. This is an urgent alert, and there is no other moment when it could reach you except this one. We are at the beginning of October, and the first days of this month carry a spiritual density that could decide the direction of your awakening. It is not coincidence that you are before these words. You did not stumble upon this call by accident. The universe, which follows your trajectory and knows every pain that shaped your essence, allowed you to arrive here because something needs to be said now. This is the moment when one choice, seemingly simple, can sustain or ruin the entire path you have walked until today. What if the clarity you have been seeking all along has been quietly waiting inside you? Not out there in the noise, but in the stillness you keep avoiding. In the next few minutes, you will understand why this moment of your life is not random at all, and how listening closely could change everything you thought you knew about your journey. Before we go further, there is a resource that can quietly support this transition without adding pressure or confusion. If these words are landing for you, there is a clear way to move forward without getting scattered. Prosperity revealed in 3 dimensions. It is a simple and profound path designed to help you bring order to the noise, return to your center, and act with clarity and purpose. You can explore it in reading as an ebook or listening as an audiobook, whatever fits your life right now. Everything is in the pinned comment and in the description. Take the time that feels right for you. Keep that thread within reach. Now let us return to what truly shifts everything at the heart of our exploration. During September, you crossed an invisible portal. Many signs intensified. Dreams became more vivid. People disappeared from your life abruptly. Old patterns surfaced to be broken. And within you, a greater clarity was born about who you are and where you should walk. But the universe, in its wisdom, never allows a lesson to remain only in theory. It needs to test whether you truly learned, whether you are willing to live what you say you believe. That is why now, in the first days of October, the examination comes. And this examination presents itself in the form of temptation. There is an error, a single error, that can cost the entire process of spiritual ascension you have lived until now. An error capable of extinguishing the flame that was lit in September. Capable of delaying not just weeks, but months, even years of your journey. This error is simple to name, but devastating in its consequences, going backward. Returning to cycles the universe has already closed, answering the call of people who have already been removed from your path. Reopening doors that, however familiar they seem, only hide traps and exhaustion. Yielding again to habits that drain your energy and suffocate your clarity. This is how the error manifests, with a familiar face, with the voice of someone who was once part of your life, with the comfort of routines that seem harmless. But do not be deceived. It is poison disguised as honey. It is a trap coated with nostalgia. It is the past trying to convince you it still has a place in your present. And here is the hard and unavoidable truth. If you give in to this, you will compromise your awakening. You have already felt the weight of walking in circles, of repeating pain, of trusting where you should not have, of insisting on places where your soul screamed to leave. You have already experienced the frustration of going around and returning to the same point. So know this. October has arrived to measure whether you will, once again, fall into the same web, or if you will finally break the pattern and walk towards the new. This month did not come to punish you, but to separate. October is the blade that divides the attentive from the distracted, the awakened from those who prefer to go back to sleep. In the first days of this month, the trials intensify. People may appear suddenly with unexpected messages, trying to pull you back into old cycles. Old habits may seem even more seductive, as if they were calling you to rest on familiar ground. And even seemingly good situations may arise as opportunities that are really nothing more than distractions painted with false gold. If you are not vigilant, you may confuse nostalgia with destiny, comfort with alignment, appearance with truth. If this helped you see something differently, consider subscribing for more of these explorations. Your presence here matters more than you know. This is the moment when every decision has multiplied weight. A wrong conversation, a false step, a return to what has already been overcome can cost dearly. There is no neutrality now. Either you protect your energy, or you hand it over on a platter to what wants to destroy your clarity. And if you hand it over, there is no way to advance. Awakening does not happen by accident. It requires attention, it requires discipline, it requires courage to say no. So listen, you must protect your energy as if it were gold. In these first days of October, every conversation matters, every environment matters, every habit matters. Ask yourself, does this feed my soul or drain my peace? Does this expand my clarity or return me to confusion? Does this strengthen my light or drag me back into darkness? And if the answer is unfavorable, you already know what to do. Cut it, distance yourself, silence it, do not fear loneliness. The loneliness you may feel now is not punishment, it is protection. It is the universe closing the door of your inner room so the enemy cannot enter. In silence you will hear instructions. In dreams you will receive revelations. In the coincidences that seem small, you will perceive confirmations. The map of awakening is before you, but it can only be read by those who have the courage to remain quiet and attentive. Patience is your shield. Haste is the trap. If you believe there is no danger, you are already in danger. Because it is precisely when we think nothing can bring us down that we lower our guard. October demands vigilance. October demands sobriety. October demands firmness. The error many will commit is believing they can play with their own energy as if it was something replaceable. But your energy, chosen one, is your greatest treasure. And if you waste it now at the most critical moment, the price will be too high. However, here is the good news. If you resist, if you do not fall into this error, something extraordinary happens. Your clarity will expand like never before. What seemed confusing will align before your eyes. Invisible doors will begin to open. The purpose that seemed distant will accelerate, as if time itself had been shortened. You will feel the weight of delay dissolving and realize that all your preparation had this moment as its objective. October, which could be an abyss, will transform into a platform. Leave a like if this brought clarity today. It helps others find what they need when they need it most, and this is why you need to declare. The word has power. The choice needs to be affirmed aloud, because when you speak, you seal not just a thought, but a reality. So repeat now with all conviction, I do not fall into this error. I do not go backward. I protect my awakening. I'm chosen. Say this with firmness. Say this as a decree. Say this as someone who knows they are sealing destiny. It is not just a phrase. It is a vow. It is the seal of your decision. It is the mark the universe recognizes. October will not wait. The trials are already happening. The air is already charged with choices. The universe is watching. And from this vow, nothing can steal what was destined for you. But there is one detail we almost always miss, and this is where it really turns. Research suggests that our brains are wired to seek the familiar, even when the familiar is harmful. Studies on neuroplasticity indicate that repeated patterns create neural pathways that feel like home, even when that home is on fire. In clinical practice, it is often observed that people return to destructive cycles not because they lack awareness, but because the neural architecture of habit is stronger than the momentary clarity of insight. This is not weakness. This is biology meeting spirit. And the only way to rewire is through consistent conscious choice, breath by breath, decision by decision. The mountain does not justify itself. It simply remains. You do not need to explain your boundaries to those who never respected them. You do not owe anyone access to the sacred space you are building within. Silence is not absence. It is the fertile ground where new life grows. When you remove what drains you, you create room for what nourishes you. This is not cruelty. This is wisdom. This is how the garden of your soul is tended. Turn on notifications so you do not miss what comes next. The journey continues, and each step builds on the last. Close your eyes for a moment. Inhale slowly through the nose. Feel the breath descend into your belly, filling the space where worry lives. Exhale gently and let the day loosen its grip on your shoulders. Ask one simple question: what wants to be born in me today? Listen without forcing an answer. Let the question rest in the quiet. This is not meditation. This is remembering how to hear yourself beneath the noise. Here is the point we keep avoiding without noticing. We think awakening is about gaining something new, acquiring a skill, reaching a higher state. But awakening is subtraction, not addition. It is the removal of what was never yours to carry. The false beliefs inherited from wounded people. The identities built to survive rather than thrive. The stories you tell yourself about limitation when your very existence is evidence of the miraculous. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were before the world taught you to forget. Tell me in the comments, which part resonated most? Your insight guides the next explorations. I read every word you share. What if purpose is less about finding and more about remembering? We search for meaning outside ourselves, in careers, in relationships, in achievements, when meaning was never lost. It was buried, covered by layers of expectation, fear, comparison, and noise. The first days of October are not bringing you a test to see if you are worthy. They are offering you a mirror to see what you have always been. The ocean teaches depth in waves. You do not need to understand the entire journey right now. You only need to be present for this wave, this breath, this choice. Clarity does not arrive as a lightning bolt that illuminates the entire path. It comes as a small candle in your hand, lighting just enough ground for the next step. And that is enough. That has always been enough. Stay with me just a little longer. The key is about to surface. There is a quiet element often overlooked in spiritual teaching, and it changes the whole picture. We are told to release the past, to let go, to surrender. But no one teaches us how. No one explains that letting go is not a single event, but a daily practice, sometimes an hourly one. You do not let go once and move on. You let go again and again. Each time the old pattern calls, each time nostalgia whispers. Each time fear offers you the illusion of safety in what you already know. Evidence indicates that the practice of conscious breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you designed to rest, digest, and integrate. When you are in fight or flight, which is where most of us live, you cannot access higher reasoning or intuitive wisdom. You are simply surviving. But 3 deep breaths can shift your entire nervous system. 3 breaths can return you from reaction to response. 3 breaths can remind you that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness beneath them. This is not mystical theory. This is observable, repeatable, and available to you right now. Share this with someone who might need it right now. Sometimes a message arrives exactly when it is supposed to. Light does not argue, it reveals. You do not need to defend your choices to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not need to justify your boundaries to those who benefited from you having none. Your life is not a courtroom. Your transformation is not up for debate. The people who are meant to walk with you will recognize the light in you because they are tending their own. The ones who resist your growth were never part of this chapter. Let them go without bitterness. Let them go with gratitude for what was and clarity about what is no longer. Shadow is not absence. It is a room waiting to be entered. Carl Jung taught that what we refuse to face in ourselves, we will meet as fate. The parts of you that you reject, the anger you suppress, the grief you avoid, the power you deny, these do not disappear. They grow in the dark. They leak out sideways. They sabotage you in ways you do not recognize until the pattern repeats enough times to become undeniable. October is asking you to turn toward the shadow not with fear, but with curiosity. What is hidden there is not a monster. It is medicine. It is the gold you buried because you were told it was too much. What you tend to becomes you. If you tend to worry, you become anxious. If you tend to resentment, you become bitter. If you tend to gratitude, you become peaceful. If you tend to presence, you become awake. Attention is the water. What you water grows. This is why protecting your energy is not selfish. It is the most generous thing you can do. When you guard your attention, when you direct it toward what is true and alive and aligned, you become a source rather than a drain. You become someone who can hold space for others because you have learned to hold space for yourself. Your comment helps me shape the next explorations. I read them, and they matter more than you might think. Now let us move from idea to experience. Take 30 seconds right now. Scan your body from the crown of your head down to your jaw. Notice if you are clenching. Move down to your chest. Is it open or collapsed? Down to your belly. Is it soft or tight? Down to your hands. Are they gripping or resting? On your next exhale, release whatever tension you find. You do not need to understand it. You do not need to fix it. Just notice it. Just breathe into it. Just let it soften. This is the practice. This is how you return home to yourself in the middle of the storm. Fire returns what is essential. In ancient alchemy, they spoke of calcination, the burning away of impurities to reveal the essence beneath. Your life is doing this to you right now. Everything that is not aligned is being burned away. Every relationship that was built on convenience rather than truth. Every belief that kept you small. Every identity that no longer fits. It feels like loss. It feels like death. And in a way, it is. But what remains after the fire is pure. What remains is you, unadorned, unconditioned, undeniable. Each breath places the soul at the right distance from the world. Too close, and you are overwhelmed. Too far, and you are disconnected. But breath, conscious breath, calibrates you. It brings you back to center. It reminds you that you are not the chaos around you. You are the stillness that holds it. You are not the noise. You are the silence beneath it. You are not the story. You are the awareness reading it. What you contemplate contemplates you. If you stare at your lack, you will feel small. If you gaze at your mistakes, you will feel unworthy. But if you turn your attention toward your resilience, toward the fact that you are still here, still trying, still growing despite everything, then you will feel the truth. You are not broken. You never were. You were always whole, even in the breaking. Especially in the breaking, dawn says, not everything is over. Every morning is a resurrection. Every breath is a second chance. Every choice is a new beginning. You do not have to carry yesterday into today. You do not have to repeat the patterns that hurt you. You can choose differently. You can choose now. You can choose again and again until the new choice becomes the pattern, until the light becomes the default, until awakening is not something you are trying to reach, but something you are living. Hold this thought. It will matter in a moment. The universe does not choose at random. If you are hearing this, it is because you were marked to carry light where light was forgotten. But to fulfill that calling, you must first protect your flame. No one can do this for you. Only you can guard your energy. Only you can choose the silence. Only you can say no to distractions. Only you can resist the trap of the past. And when you do this, when you cross these days without yielding, you do not only save your awakening, you inspire others. Your resistance opens a path for others to awaken as well. Your firmness becomes an example. Your victory becomes a seed for many. The chosen one does not carry light only for themselves, but to illuminate all those still in darkness. So stay attentive. Watch, protect, declare. October is before you like a blade, and with each step you choose which side you will stand on. This is not a time for distractions. This is not a time for nostalgia. This is not a time to yield to comfort that hides poison. This is a time to remain awake, protected, determined. Remember, this is the alert that can save your awakening. Do not commit the error that destroys. The universe has already shown the signs. Now it is your turn to respond. Time is short. The trial is now, and the result depends only on your decision. Repeat once more and engrave it in your soul. I do not fall into this error. I do not go backward. I protect my awakening. I am chosen. What light wants to enter your life now? What are you ready to release so something truer can begin? Where does your attention want to rest tonight? Not in the past that is finished, not in the future that is not yet here, but in this breath, this moment, this quiet knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. The path clarifies as we walk. You do not need the whole map. You only need the courage to take the next step. And you have that courage. You have always had it. It brought you here. It will carry you forward. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the unfolding. There is a hidden rhythm to transformation that most people never discover because they are too busy forcing outcomes to feel the natural pulse beneath. The rhythm is simple. Contract, expand, integrate, repeat. Just as your lungs cannot only inhale, your soul cannot only grow outward. There must be moments of pulling back, of consolidating, of letting the lessons settle into your bones before the next wave of expansion arrives. October is a contraction, not a failure, not a setback, a sacred pulling inward, so that when you expand again, you do so from a deeper foundation, from a truer center, from a place that cannot be shaken. Think of the archer drawing back the bow. The further back the string is pulled, the greater the potential energy, the more powerful the release. You are being pulled back right now. It feels like resistance. It feels like delay. But what if it is actually preparation? What if the universe is drawing you back, not to stop you, but to launch you further than you could have gone without this tension? The question is not whether you will be released. The question is whether you will trust the draw. Most people panic in the draw. They feel the tension and interpret it as evidence they are going the wrong way. They release the string too early, before the full power has been gathered and the arrow falls short. Or worse, they fight against the pull, refusing to go backward even when backward is the necessary precursor to forward. They want the flight without the draw. They want the harvest without the planting. They want the breakthrough without the breaking open. And so they stay stuck in a perpetual almost, never quite arriving because they never quite surrendered to the process. But you are different. You are here, reading these words, because somewhere deep inside, you recognize that this discomfort is not your enemy. It is your instructor. It is teaching you patience when you want speed. It is teaching you trust when you want control. It is teaching you surrender when you want to force. And these lessons, uncomfortable as they are the very ones that will carry you through every future challenge with grace instead of panic, with faith instead of fear. Here is what the awakened ones throughout history understood that the sleeping ones never grasped. True power is not in never falling. True power is in how quickly you rise. It is not in never doubting. It is in choosing faith despite the doubt. It is not in never feeling tempted to return to old patterns. It is in recognizing the temptation, honoring it as information, and choosing the new path anyway. You are not weak because the old life calls to you. You are human. The strength is not in never hearing the call. The strength is in not answering it. Every saint, every mystic, every awakened being who ever walked this earth faced the same test you are facing now. They stood at the same crossroads. Behind them, the familiar, the comfortable, the known, the path already traveled. Before them, the unknown, the uncertain, the untested, the path that required faith instead of proof. And in that moment, they had to choose. Not once, but daily. Sometimes hourly. The spiritual life is not one grand choice made in a moment of clarity. It is 1,000 small choices made in moments of doubt, fatigue, fear, and temptation. And each small choice either reinforces the old pattern or builds the new one. This is why your decision right now, in these early days of October, carries so much weight. You are not just choosing what to do today. You are choosing which pattern gets reinforced. You are choosing which neural pathway gets strengthened. You are choosing which version of yourself gets to lead. And the universe, which operates on the principle of correspondence, will respond to your choice by sending you more of what you choose. Choose the old, and the old will multiply. Choose the new, and the new will grow. Consider the gardener who plants a new crop. The old weeds do not disappear just because new seeds were planted. They continue to grow, sometimes even more aggressively, as if sensing their time is limited. The gardener must be vigilant, must pull the weeds as they appear, must protect the new growth from being choked out by the old. This is not cruelty to the weeds. This is devotion to the garden. You are the gardener. Your consciousness is the garden. And right now, the old weeds are making one last aggressive push to reclaim the ground you have cleared. Your job is not to be surprised by this. Your job is to remain vigilant, to recognize the weeds for what they are, and to remove them before they take root again. Some of you are thinking, but what if I make the wrong choice? What if I cut off something that was actually meant to stay? Here is the truth that will set you free from that paralyzing fear. If it is truly meant for you, releasing it will not remove it from your life. It will transform it. Real love does not die when you set it free. It evolves. Real opportunity does not disappear when you let it go. It returns in a better form. Real connection does not break when you create space. It deepens. But the false versions, the ones built on need instead of truth, the ones sustained by fear instead of freedom, those will not survive release. And that is how you know they were never yours to keep. So release. Release without knowing what comes next. Release without guarantee of return. Release because holding on to what is not aligned costs you more than any temporary discomfort of letting go. Release because your hands cannot receive the new gift while they are still clutching the old one. Release because you are ready, even if you do not feel ready, even if every cell in your body is screaming to hold on. You are ready because you are here. You are ready because you are listening. You are ready because something in you, deeper than fear, knows the truth of what I am saying. The mystics called this the dark night of the soul. Not because it is evil, but because it is the necessary darkness before the dawn. The caterpillar does not know it will become a butterfly. Inside the cocoon, in the dark, being dissolved into liquid, it has no memory of being a caterpillar and no vision of becoming a butterfly. It simply is, in the dark, being transformed, trusting a process it cannot see or understand. You are in the cocoon. The dark is not your destination. It is your transformation chamber. And when you emerge, you will not be who you were. You will be who you were always meant to become. Write this down where you will see it every morning. I am being transformed, not destroyed. I'm being refined, not rejected. I'm being prepared, not punished. What feels like an ending is actually a beginning. What looks like loss is actually gain. What seems like going backward is actually being drawn back for a greater launch forward. I trust the process even when I cannot see the outcome. I trust the darkness even as I long for the light. I trust the contraction because I know the expansion is coming. And I will not, under any circumstances, abandon myself in the middle of my own transformation. This is your sacred assignment for October. Stay with yourself. Do not abandon ship in the middle of the storm. Do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Do not burn down what you built just because building got hard. Stay, keep, watch, tend, protect. Your future self is counting on your present self to not give up 3 feet from gold. Your destiny is counting on you to not quit right before the breakthrough. The world is counting on you to carry your light all the way through the darkness so others can find their way. You are not reading this by accident. You are being prepared for something significant, something that requires a version of you that does not yet fully exist. And October is the forge where that version is being formed. The heat is intense, the hammering is relentless. But when you emerge from this fire, you will be unbreakable. You will be undeniable. You will be unstoppable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because you will have learned that you can be hurt and still rise. You can be broken and still heal. You can be tested and still trust. The chosen one is not someone who never struggles. The chosen one is someone who struggles and does not quit, who falls and gets back up, who doubts and chooses faith anyway, who is afraid and acts with courage despite the fear. You are chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. And willingness sustained over time becomes mastery. Your willingness to stay awake when sleep looks easier, to stay present when checking out feels safer, to stay committed when quitting seems justified. This willingness is forging you into someone capable of carrying what is coming. So here is your final instruction, your marching order for these critical October days. Every time you feel the pull toward the old, pause. Take 3 breaths. Ask yourself one question. Does this choice honor who I am becoming or who I used to be? And then, with all the courage you can gather, choose becoming. Choose the new, choose the unknown. Choose the path that requires faith. Do this once and it gets easier. Do it 10 times and it becomes habit. Do it 100 times and it becomes your nature. And when it becomes your nature, you will look back on this October and recognize it for what it truly was, not the month that almost destroyed you, but the month that finally, completely, irrevocably set you free. There is a sacred principle that governs transformation, and most people never learn it because they are too busy chasing results to understand the process. The principle is this: every level of awakening requires a corresponding level of sacrifice. Not sacrifice as punishment, but sacrifice as release. You cannot hold the old and receive the new. Your hands must be empty to catch what is falling from the sky. Your heart must be clear to recognize the gift when it arrives. This is why October feels so demanding. It is not testing your strength. It is testing your willingness to let go.